We're ready to hear from Stephanie. I'm going to read an introduction. If you've got a piece of paper sitting there handy that you're going to fold while Stephanie is talking us through it, get yourself ready while I'm talking. Stephanie Wolf works with text, textile, and the book form, creating both 2- and 3-dimensional art on themes of weather, science, history, and rural life. She was the Fall 2015 Artist in Residence at the Jaffe Center for Book Arts. In 2013, she was awarded a Creative and Performing Arts and Writers Fellowship at the American Antiquarian Society. Stephanie's years as a book conservator at the Dartmouth College Library provided her with knowledge in the history, construction, repair, and care of a wide range of library materials, from books and manuscripts to maps, scrapbooks, and other objects. As a longtime teacher of book arts to college students and others, she enjoys sharing her knowledge from bookbinding, book conservation, and fine arts to help people transform their ideas into tangible creations. And those things, Stephanie, need a container. Cue Stephanie. Cue Stephanie's camera. Do you want your face first or the camera first?
Actually, I'll just say, you can switch me to my hands in a minute, but I just will say thank you so much for inviting me to share this project. And it's been wonderful to hear from everybody tonight and to see all the beautiful work and hear the stories, and all of that has been terrific. So thanks so much. Yeah, so let's go to the demo camera, if you would, Sean. And what I want to make sure is that this is the handout that was sent to you. So hopefully you got the link to get that, and this might be helpful for the future. And you might be able to even look at it tonight if you have trouble following along. So one of the things that I wanted to do is, when Sean asked whether I wanted to present, I thought, sure, but what I thought would be most useful was to be thinking about some kind of structure or enclosure that could be used with any kind of item, but a movable book or a volvel, which I've been teaching volvels. And so here's a little example of some of what we're going to make tonight, which is this. You can see here's an example of one that's a 3-inch high by a 15-inch wide piece of paper. And here's another one that was made out of a 5-inch high by 25-inch wide piece of paper. So, so here you can see that that this little tiny volvel fits right in there. So you could make some sort of a little envelope or housing for your small book or volvel or paper pop-up card or something like that. This happens to only work for a square. So you're only getting, this is a square envelope, but you could certainly put something in there that's not square, that's rectangular. I love little enclosures. So here are just some models. So here's like a little accordion book that's made as a codex that can slide into a wrapper. When I teach these geometric books, like the toroidal circular accordion class that I teach, it folds up, and I always like to do little wrappers to go with it. And here's one, for example, that is triangular for an equilateral triangle, making a little enclosure for that. So I'm really big on having some sort of enclosure for my work. And so these are some of those models. And here, for example, a little octagon book or a hexagon book, that could fit, because it's so thin, it could fit into something like that as well. So why don't we go ahead and get folding. So the Sean had sent out the information about the formula for this. So just always keeping in mind, we're going to have 5 panels. And so we want to have a square. So the formula is that whatever the height is multiplied then 5 times to get the width of what you're using. So I'm going to demo this. Actually, I will demo this with a shorter piece of paper so that you can see both sides here. So this is my 3-inch high by 15-inch wide piece of paper. So are we ready to go, everyone? All right. So what we want to do first is we're going to fold this into a 5-part accordion. So it's harder and it's just more complex to have to think about using math. So what we can do is we can take one end and bring the end around. I'm going to flip it over like this. So I'll do this slowly. So if I take this and turn it over like so, I can use the height to measure the first panel width. So I'm going to take my pen. Hold on a second. I'm going to make a mark with my pen. Now, of course, I'm making my mark with a dark pen so you can see it, but you could make a mark with a bone folder or a pencil. So that is the first place we're going to make a fold. So we're going to make that first fold there, and I'm going to fold this under so that I can back fold at this mark there. So I'm going to just line up the bottom to the bottom here. And I'm going to score that. I'm just going to use the back of my fingernail, but you certainly could use, a Teflon folder, or you could use a regular bone folder to do that. All right, so once we've got this one folded, now this is an easy 4-fold accordion. So we'll take this. So we're going to ignore this panel right here and fold the rest of this as if it's not there. We're going to take this far piece, bring it over to that folded edge, and we're going to clamp down, take a soft fold here. And then I'm going to rotate it because I'm right-handed, and I always like to have, picking up my extra piece at the top with my right hand. So I'm going to bring that over to that folded edge here. Am I going too fast for anybody's good speed? I hope. I'm going to make that fold there. Okay, so this is what it should look like. So you should have 2 panels here, a long panel in the middle, and then you've got this extra piece right there. So now I'm going to take these 2 panels and put them down on the table. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this extra folded piece here, and I'm going to reverse this fold from a valley to a mountain. Just pinching it like so. So I have my little mountain here. And now I'm going to take that mountain and I'm going to bring it over here to the fold. I'm going to clamp my hand there and then make that. So I have now my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 5 panel accordion. And I'm going to number these so it's easy for you to see what we're doing. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on number 4. Panel number 4 is going to be the back of our envelope. So we're going to take panel number 5 and just want to make sure you can see. Here's my, I'll just draw that folded edge in case you can't see that. So I'm going to fold this panel 5 down right along that fold line. I'm going to clamp that and crease that right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with panel 3. So I'm going to bring I'm going to do again here. I'll show the dotted line there. I'm going to bring panel 3 down the top edge to meet the dotted line on mine. It's the fold line next to number 4 panel. Just gonna crease that like so. So I have now, it sort of looks like a house, and one side is longer here with the panels 1 and 2 on the back side. All right. Everybody ready for the next step? Okay, I can only see one group of 25 at a time. So, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this long strip here and we're going to bring that over. So we're just flipping that down onto panel number 4, like so. And then we're going to take these 2 at the bottom and we're going to bring them around the back and up so that this number 1 is sticking up behind number 4. And then we'll take number 1 and tuck it in on top of number 4. Like so. And then we've got the last thing to do is we have 5 right here. We're going to take that and tuck it under this diagonal right here. Like so. And sometimes it takes a little bit of play, and a micro spatula can be a really great tool for helping the tip of that triangle fit all the way in there and tucking that in, and then using a folder to get everything, all the creases nice and tidy is a great thing. So that's the envelope. So it's really not, it's not a super hard folder. But I want to tell you a couple of things that you might like to think about when you're making this. And I'm going to do another really quick demo with this, because I want you to see what it's like with, if you have a second sheet and you want to fold it again, feel free. But I want you to see if you have paper that has image on one side and no image on the other, or let's say you had paper that was 2 different colors. So you might want to think about that as you're working with this. So with this much bigger piece of paper, I'm going to do the same thing. And then I want to also show you, I'm going to mark the 5 inches high. So again, creating here some kind of place to make a crease, that mark, so that you know where that mark is. And then folding this into a 4-panel accordion. Right, so we're just doing that. Flipping this around, folding, flipping that over, like so, reversing this fold, and then bringing the mountain up over. Now you can see something is not quite accurate, and accuracy is really important with this. So either I folded wrong or I cut wrong. So you can see that a little bit of the color is coming there. So if I've got my panels, let's do this. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If I go to panel 4, I'm going to do my triangle here. Number 3, I'm going to do my triangle here. Let's see if my slightly inaccurate cutting or folding is going to make a problem. We will find out. And then I'm going to fold this over. Right, so that gives me the color on the front, the pattern. If I flip this back up and then tuck this in, it's hiding all of that pattern. So it's a little bit tricky using something, I think, with two different patterns if you want the patterns to, or with just pattern on one side if you want the pattern to show. And then taking that last piece and tucking it in here, like so. And just adjusting. Sometimes this micro spatula can be super helpful. Just adjusting everything. So you can see that in this case, a lot of the pattern doesn't show. If I had started and done the folding with the other side, right, if the pattern was on the other side, it would be, these two would be showing. So it's really hard with this origami folder to get two-sided things to have pattern on every side of the same thing. So I want to show you one other thing. Well, first, let me just show you one thing that might actually be helpful is that if you do some paper decoration the way that I did with this particular one, I did one color on one side or one pattern and another on the other side. And I just used some of this rubber stamp pad. And I made some rubber stamps from craft foam. So that's an easy way of getting some image on here. And you could actually think about if you knew and figured out which panels were the ones that were going to show, you could color those panels specifically on either side if you do the math and figure out which one is going to show when. So just something to think about in terms of a quick paper decoration. And the last thing that I wanted to show you was just what happens if you are making something and you want a really long piece of paper, but you don't have the piece of paper that you need. So you can join two pieces of paper on top of number 4. So basically, if you have two colors, which I did here, you can see it's the same thing that I just demoed where there was color on the front, right? But no color on the back and here. And so here's the, the same thing. So if you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the bottom, and you take 4 and 5, and I don't know that it matters which one goes on the top and which one goes on the bottom, but just to attach them together with some sort of glue stick or double-sided tape or something that's not super wet. I mean, you could certainly do it with PVA, but then you'd have to dry it under weight. But you could then extend the paper to make it wider and to fit something that you wanted particularly to have the paper be a certain way. The last thing I want to just mention is it is also possible, and you'd have to play around a little bit. You get in the weeds a little bit to talk about tonight. But if you wanted to make this a lot stronger, you could probably put in a small piece of card in here to make it a little bit stiffer. But what I would probably do is I would probably make it be somewhere maybe 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. You'd have to do some tests to see exactly what the tolerance is on the sides. But you could stiffen the back. And you probably, what I would do is I would put it in back here. So it's caught in between these two places there and tucking that back in and over. So aside from, if you want to get a perfect square, cut really accurately, your paper, and just practice, and you'll get the steps. So does anybody have any questions?
Can you tell me which number pages you would put that card into, the stiffener?
Sure thing. So we can go back maybe to the demo camera. I would probably put it behind number 4. So here, so if we're starting, so here's the whole line, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these two come down. We fold this one over. So I would probably put it behind 4, between 4 and 2. So this is here. This is
Okay.
4, and that's 2.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so give it a try. The other thing I will say is that you want your folder to be slightly bigger than your item, especially if it has thickness, because it won't fit so well. So if I have this, here's a little example, and I have to turn this on its side because it's not exactly the right size. This actually will fit. I mean, it doesn't fit height-wise, but the thickness is okay. And that's about I don't know, it's maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, but you can see how much it has room on the side. So it has maybe a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch on either side. So you might want to think about, there might be a formula, but I think you want to just make it slightly bigger than what you think it might be, or do a test with scrap paper. And also the difference will be this paper is much heavier and thicker. So this is sort of an 80-pound text weight paper. And this is marker paper. So it's quite thin. And so the amount of space that the folds take up is also sort of an issue as well. Yeah, so any other questions or?
There's a couple of questions. One was just, I think, more of an observation and about the thickness of the paper you're using will affect the length that you need. And that may be something that I think Stephanie would say people just need to do a little experimenting if they want to use a heavier paper. I know.
I would say that's true, Emily. And actually this worked just fine. This 80-pound text. And it was fine. The lengthwise was fine, and so it was fine to fold up into the envelope, the 80-pound text, without a problem.
Yeah.
So, but I would definitely experiment before cutting a lot of sheets to do like an addition or something. I would definitely experiment with one piece and see, and then make your addition after you know it's going to fit.
Well, you should do that for anything.
Of course.
There's another question about what camera you're using for your presentation. A lot of people are very impressed with how easy they can see what you're doing.
Well, it's actually, it's a phone. It's a what is it? I think it's a Google Android phone. My son had an extra phone, and that's what it is. It's a Pixel phone. I think it's a Pixel 3. Okay. So,
and then you have a tripod to hold it above.
Yes. Well, what I have, this is the camera, so you can see right there. So it's the phone. And then I have a little light here, right there. And I have 2 microphone stands.
I can't actually see what you're pointing at.
Oh, sorry.
Screen.
So that's the light. And I think, yeah, no, right here, you can see it. That's the phone. It's right here in the screen. But anyway, I have 2 microphone stands for overhead. And they're just the Amazon Basics microphone stand, $20 or something, and it works great. With the you know, a swivel head and a phone holder at the top. So that, you know, that holds the phone. So, yeah.
Works really well. Kyra has put in links to Stephanie's website. She's also going to be teaching, I have to scroll back to it, circular accordions workshop for the Jaffe Center. The link for that's coming up June 6th. The link for that is in the chat as well. So
That's what it is. And I've got to give a shout out to Ken Leslie because he's another Vermonter, and I learned this like, I don't know, 25 years ago or something, whatever. And it's a great fun structure. So that's what we'll be making.
all right, cool.
Thank you, Stephanie.